hey, are you using AI to generate this doc? It's like getting people to start thinking about the use of the technology. Is just a very different way of working than what we've been doing for like the past several decades.
Welcome to the Team Amplifier podcast. I'm your host, Byron Summerdahl. Here you'll be inspired by industry leaders who build flourishing tech teams. Stay tuned and prepare to be amplified.
3, 2, 1.
Hey folks, we're here with Annyce Davis, and today we're talking about taking people's pulse. Maybe not physically, because that might get weird, right? But like, we'll get into it and break it down, understand what we're talking about. But it's going to be a good episode. Annyce, I'm excited about having you here. Folks, Annyce is a seasoned tech executive. She brings clarity, candor, and code, the 3 C's. So, Annyce, can you tell us more about yourself and what you got going on?
So, as mentioned, my name is Annyce Davis. I'm a senior director of engineering at Ford. Yes, that Ford, the car company. I'm relatively new, so this is month 5. There, I have the privilege of working with a team focused on subscriptions, our loyalty platform, as well as a dealer product as well. And honestly, it's just been really exciting for me to join an iconic organization. But besides that, I'm just in love with technology. I've been spending a lot of time deep diving into AI like almost everyone these days. But it's getting more and more exciting. It's kind of like reignited my desire to dig into technology. So yeah, that's me.
All right. So Annyce, we need to get to know you a little bit better. So one great way to do that is finding out what you're reading. So what have you been reading lately that has been making an impact on you?
I have been reading a great book. It's called Your AI Survival Guide. Have it here with me. And what's really cool about this is that the author was like one of the, say, like OGs of launching AI products at enterprise scale. And I just love the way that she talks about how she thinks about AI, but not just that, it's the way it's a mindset shift. And not just for like her, but for her team, for the company. And I'm really finding that to be true. Even just saying like, hey, are you using AI to generate this doc? It's like getting people to start thinking about the use of the technology. Is just a very different way of working than what we've been doing for like the past several decades.
Yeah, I've been talking with a lot of people lately. I talk with a lot of CTOs and tech leaders, and some are really concerned and some are really excited. And I always come back to this thought that the rising tide lifts all ships. And just like when the wheel came out back in, I don't know, I can't tell you the date that the wheel came out, but like when the wheel came out, I'm sure all kinds of people were really up in arms because, hey, this new contraption, this new invention is going to take away my job because I carry wood in my arms all day. And what am I going to do now?
What about my horse business?
And I'm going to lose my job. Exactly. What about my shoe business? Because now people don't need shoes as often. And, that rising tide, I mean, AI is a rising tide for sure. And it will elevate everything. Like if I was talking with a developer the other day and he was like, I don't know what's going to happen to my job. And I said, well, if the only thing you can do is code like Replit codes, then you should be concerned about your job. If your code is just as good as what Replit does, which is not that great, at least today, then you should be concerned. If the only thing you are able to do is put together UIs and make applications work at this phase, then you should be concerned. But that it's a rising tide that's going to raise all ships. It's going to elevate what we do.
No,
at least that's my
I agree with
prophecy.
you. It's not like,
who knows?
A lot of people say, oh, it's supposed to make you faster. Well, it's just not making me faster. And I'm like, actually, I feel like it makes me slower. It's making me more intentional. It's making me like really think about, okay, how can I work with this tool to get it to help me think differently? Like, give me 3 different ways that I might approach this. Put yourself in the shoes of this person. How might you explain this? like it's really helping me to explore problems in more depth than I used to. So like you said, it's actually elevating the quality of my work. And I think that's the mindset that people need to have to really get the most out of it.
So it's confession
Okay.
time, Annyce. So tell us about, this is what we do. Everybody on the show has to do this. So I apologize, and I'm excited at the same time because I love this. So tell me about an embarrassing mistake that you've made as a tech leader.
Yeah.
And what did you learn from it?
So what I'll say is it's probably something that most of us have done. And that is to CC the wrong person on an email. That has happened to me than I care to admit. And what have I learned from it? It has really taught me to be kind always. Always be kind in the word choice that I use. Because you really never know, like once it's sort of like you're putting it out there in the universe and you may not know who's going to see it. So I really try to think through what I say, how I say it. And it's not about sugarcoating, but it's more so just about being kind because you never know. You might actually CC the wrong person.
Or even worse than that. This has not happened to me personally. And I can say that this has happened. I can say that because I've sent the wrong email, definitely. But something that I've learned from my teenager is that it doesn't matter who you CC. A message can still be screenshotted and sent to every. And I've been trying to teach my son to be kind because he copies everybody's screenshots around and he's part of the problem. But if he's thinking about writing a fiery message or talking about somebody behind their back, he doesn't realize
it could get me too.
That he's writing could also. So the takeaway is to always be kind, no matter what the situation is, and say what needs to be said. But at the same time, we need to be kind to the people around us, not just because we can get in trouble, but because it's the right thing to do at the same time.
Absolutely.
So in this episode, we're talking about taking our team's pulse often. And so, Annyce, how about you break this down a little bit for us? What do we mean by taking their pulse often?
So when I think about this, and first of all, like, what is their pulse, right? It's a quick way to determine, like, is this person healthy or not? Are they alive? So to me, as an engineering leader, I want to quickly check in, like, is someone engaging in work that they find interesting? Is something tedious that's in their way? It's just like a really quick way for me to see, like, is this person alive? Are they happy? Are they thriving here in my team? And as far as like just taking it, that can look a bunch of different ways, right? That can be a quick, hey, just thought about you, popped in my head. How are things going? Via chat. Even sometimes in team meetings, I like to do like a few different virtual pulse checks. So I might start the meeting and say like, hey, everyone, I learned this from a former manager. It's like, kind of, where's your energy level? Like, just use your screen. Are we here, or here? And everyone's kind of like, oh, I'm here. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to check in again at the end of the meeting and see how we're doing. It's like a very simple way of like a pulse check. And it also helps me at the beginning. By doing this at the beginning of the meeting, I'm like, okay, I might need to bring more energy to today's conversation. Or maybe that one topic I was considering, they are not in a mental state to handle it. So I'll just kind of like, I'll table that one for later. I do like finger shoot exercises with smaller teams. So I may say like 1, 2, 3, finger shoot, where are you? And people that are 3 and below, tell us what's going on. How can we help support you? And it's just like simple, but it's very effective.
So there are probably all kinds of ways you could be checking in with people. One way that I've seen, we did this, my HR department at one of my previous companies did this Slack integration that would actually break up a very large survey, like a cultural survey, into 2 or 3 question blocks, and it would send those out via Slack, just kind of
Yes.
dripping a little bit of the survey at a time, and it would just do it the whole year. So you're getting across the entire course of the year, you're getting feedback
That's
kind
great.
of constant. That was also like a really great way to be checking people's pulse, because you have that
Yes.
big like year-end survey. It's a monster, and the data that we leaders get back from those surveys is pretty awesome, but it's a challenge to get people to even fill out the
Right.
survey in the first place.
70% participation.
It's kind of a boring thing. Yeah. If you're excited about anything less than 100%, then it's a little bit sad, but that's the reality we live in. But I did like that tool that allowed us to kind of like drip the survey questions. The participation was off the charts. I mean, it was awesome.
Oh, I believe that.
So what are some other ways that we can be checking people's
One thing
pulse?
I do is I try to meet with at least like 2 engineers every week. It's only 15 minutes. It's a very short period of time, but I make the most of it. So before, even when I send the invite, I'm like, hey, this is just a quick check-in with Annyce. Here's some questions you might want to ask me about. So even like trying to just prime them that like, this is your time, ask me whatever. And it's proven very, very interesting. I have a lot of quirky folks on my team that I'd never would have known about just from like this kind of large team meetings. And, maybe I only hear from like my direct reports the most, but like being able to actually talk to the engineers, it adds more color to what I observe. And I'll say that's like both in the positive and negative. So I might say like, okay, I'm looking at these metrics. What's happening? Like, why is this particular team seem that it takes like the cycle time is so high? What's going on here? And maybe my direct report is saying like, oh, this is the situation. Okay. I assume they have it handled. But then I meet for 15 minutes with 1 or 2 people on the team, and it's like, oh, so this is what's going on. Okay, like they're actually on the ground level. They can tell me, oh, it's the complexity of this system. What's actually happening is development is done, but we spend 4 days getting our test data together. Yikes. I did not know that was happening. Let's do something about it. And like, that's really the cool thing about these little 15-minute chunks. And I just like write down my notes. And there's been multiple different situations like that where I'm actually able to do something, because you can feel kind of powerless. Like you just see things, you can ask what's happening, about best practice, but what specifically would help improve this team deliverability? Like what's going to make a real meaningful difference? I find just having those really quick 15-minute conversations, they're like the most effective.
One of the things that tech leaders, I would imagine that everybody that's listening to this episode is on board with checking for pulse. But the aspect of what we're talking about today that's kind of a difference, especially as I think about my own past as a leader, it's the often part. Like I have checked pulse and I'll check in on people, but the often part is it requires a level of persistence and consistency that I haven't always had. I want to grow that muscle, but this is differentiator, right? Like everybody out there probably has checked pulse at some point. It's what we do as human beings. How you doing? But checking it often and genuinely, that's a big deal.
And I know that it can seem like, oh, not another thing, right? Like now you want me to check their pulse and you want me to do it often. I look at the same way that if I was like to literally check someone's pulse, it's it's like a quick thing. And you can really, like learn a lot from it. And so to me, it's just another one of my responsibilities. And when I put it in that context, it makes me want to be like more systematic, more persistent, because the more I do it, that's where I get the themes. And also, it's not only the loudest voice. So we all know, as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So there's always the people in the team. You don't have to check their pulse. There's no doubt they're very much alive. They're always the ones. Oh, does anyone have questions? I do. Like they're the first ones with their hands up. They always have the feedback. But that can really distract you from understanding the diverse perspectives of what's going on the team. And even sometimes as a leader, it can feel really lonely. You might feel like everything is wrong, but that's because you're always sort of getting the negatives since people want you to solve the problem. But there's people in the team who are actually quite happy. I've had really wonderful conversations where I leave and I'm like, thank you so much for this 50 minutes that you spent with me today. I'm going to have a great rest of the day. So there's not, it's part of my job. And I really do look at it as it's another input. It's another thing that's going to help make me successful as a leader. That's going to help unblock my team. That's really just going to help people to thrive.
So there are benefits, obvious benefits for a company, for a team, for a leader that you'd get from checking pulse. I mean, you get early warning signs on potential retention issues, turnover. You could potentially find ways to increase productivity, which helps the bottom line. The list goes on and on and on of reasons why this is an important thing for any business to be doing. But I really want to, I want to just rattle off a few bullet points of this is why this matters to our team on a human level. This is how it affects human flourishing. So if we're not checking pulse on a regular basis, if you were to measure human flourishing somehow in your team, it's going to be naturally a little bit lower because you're not paying attention to things.
Yes.
But what does this checking pulse often, how does it move the needle for human flourishing?
It really taps into our psyche, and it works on both sides of the spectrum. So one, it feels good to be needed. It feels good to be needed. It actually feels good for someone to ask you a favor. And that's essentially what's happening when you are checking people's pulse. And then, you find out, wait a minute, so you tell me 3 teams have been blocked by a pipeline issue? I know the pipeline lead. Let's get this thing solved. And the next day I was like, oh, all right, pipelines are fixed. So it's like on the one side as a leader, you actually feel better because you're in a position to help. You're in a position to make change. And then on the side of the employees, which I've definitely been in that shoes, I'm still in those shoes, it's like you feel heard. You feel like you belong. And even if nothing changes, you at least were given a voice. And you're now always given a voice. And so no one wants to feel like they're just, typing, just like, keyboard monkeys. No one wants to feel like that. It's like, wow, I'm a person. Someone cares about me, what I think. They're willing to answer my questions and receive my feedback. So that just makes them want to do more. I've directly seen people, I didn't even help them with their problem because I wasn't able to, whatever it was that they mentioned. But it's like, oh, that person just seems a little bit happier. They seem slightly more engaged. And that's because they had that time. So it's just so essential to, like you said, human flourishing, letting people thrive.
One very important aspect of human flourishing is a sense of mastery and that I've been able to accomplish something. And a very important pulse that I have taken in the past and with my current team is I'll check in with them on their confidence in the tech or the techniques or the practices that they're using. I just ask them, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel with this type of technology,
nice.
or solving this kind of problem? And even looking at their job description, and going point by point, how confident do you feel at this thing that's on your job description on a 1 to 10? And making sure that they understand that the point is not to
Right.
slap their wrist or anything like that. It's really just to try to take a pulse of their confidence and figure out, where do we need to beef
Yes.
up training? Where do we need to provide you with more opportunities to grow and learn? That results in a higher level of mastery and overall confidence, which boosts that human flourishing
Yes.
score through the
Absolutely. I mean,
roof.
people crave feedback. Feedback is a gift. You hear that saying, like, feedback is a gift, but it really is. People crave that. Um, and it's like, oh, great, I have something I can focus on, versus feeling like it's all the things. Because sometimes we can even get down on ourselves, like, I just have to do everything, like we were saying about AI. The way people are like, AI is just too much. It's like, okay, you don't have to learn all of AI, this month. Pick a lane, learn more about this particular area, and kind of go from there. And so it's the same thing, that like giving people real feedback, useful feedback, is a gift.
So why don't you think more tech leaders are checking pulse often?
Sometimes I think there's a couple of different reasons. Sometimes they think everything is fine. Because if we are meeting our deliverables and no one's complaining about our team, then things must be fine. So there's nothing to check. It's kind of like, I don't just go around randomly checking people's pulses, right? Like, there has to look like something's wrong. And then I'll jump and like, oh my God, what's happening, right? So I think that's one aspect of it. It's like, we're shipping, we are meeting our KPIs, so everyone must be good. So that's one, and I'll say it's a fallacy. So that's like one fallacy. And then the other part of it is thinking that it has to be super elaborate and involved. Like, this is like, it's a whole HR campaign to check pulse. It's not the annual survey to check the pulse. It's simple things, just like I said. All right, in chat, everybody, how are we today? Thumbs up, thumbs to the side, or thumbs down. It's a really quick way to just find out, like, how are people doing? I mean, it doesn't have to be something so elaborate. So part of it, I think, is probably asking some LLM, give me 10 different ways to check the pulse of my employees, and trying it.
So as tech leaders are trying to implement something a little bit more consistent to check the pulse of their teams, they're probably going to encounter some things
Yes.
that they didn't expect, and maybe we can give them a little bit of warning. So what do you think? What are the pitfalls they're going to find along the way?
One thing that I haven't fully expected or anticipated is that a lot of people don't even know what I do, don't even know my job. Like, they're so far removed from it. And I've had to say, well, this is my role here. Like to try to explain to them what I'm focused on. The other thing is the strategy or vision for the organization. I've also been surprised when I'm saying, like, well, this is where I kind of see us a year from now. I feel like I talk about it all the time, every day, yet somehow they didn't hear about it. And I asked someone, like, what can I do better to make sure that everyone understands the strategy and the vision, and that it's constantly like top of mind for engineers as well. So that's one thing I didn't like fully anticipate. It seems like you might say, I just say this thing till I'm blue in the face. Somehow it did not trickle down. So that's one thing that I didn't anticipate. The other thing I'll say is people are not always in the role that's best for them. And so I may talk to someone and I find out, like, oh yeah, I know a ton of things about machine learning and I'm really passionate about sentiment analysis. And I'm like, well, why are you on this team? We need that in our data and analytics team. Like, what's going on here? Are you interested in that? Like, what's happening? So it's been like a few occasions where the skill set that the person is super passionate about, that is like not at all the thing that they were doing. And that was kind of surprising too. And then some people are just miserable. So I'm sure that's not a surprise, but just kind of like mentally preparing yourself and gearing up for still trying to keep the conversation in a positive you know, tone, even though it seems like, wow, this person really does not like their job.
So I remember when I discovered this concept of pulse checking and checking in with people and just asking their opinions about how things are going. And this was, I mean, I could think back to 10 years ago when I started to try to care more. Isn't that weird? I had to try to care more, but I
It
mean, it's
is.
just,
It's how we are.
we grow,
Yeah.
we grow. But I remember starting this, and I would ask for people's opinion about things, and they would give me the feedback, and I would just be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, uh-huh." And I didn't write it down. I didn't put it into a database or anything like that to try to track things. And then I got some feedback as a leader a little while
Yep.
a little while later, and the feedback was, "Byron, you're asking us for our opinion on how things are going. We tell you, but you're not doing anything about it." And so I would throw that out there as another potential pitfall
Yeah.
for leaders as they're starting out with this. If you ask for feedback or encounter feedback and it's something that you can do something about, then if you don't do it, then basically that pulse check was for
Pointless.
naught. And so, yeah, you got to be
Yeah.
ready to act.
And the thing is, even if you do nothing, you should still say that you are doing nothing or that you can't do anything. Like, thank you so much for that feedback. I've looked into it. It doesn't look like we have any options at this time, but I will keep you all posted. Even that is like, oh, okay. They actually took the feedback. They actually were listening. And it seems like maybe something might change in the future. But even that is reassuring to people when they take the effort. It takes effort to try to be open and transparent with a leader, especially like a senior leader. And also a little bit vulnerable to say like this is something that's not going great or what that could be better, and being comfortable enough to say it out loud.
Can you share with us a time when taking people's pulse often led to some unexpected results?
Yeah. I think so more recently, so let me think about, more recently, I've been making sure to talk to people somewhat randomly. So not the names that you kind of always see in chat or something. And I'll just like randomly pick someone. And the unexpected outcomes for me was rethinking the way that some of the teams were structured. So like I kind of talked to a few people, and then I realized like, wait a minute, this team only has back-end engineers, and like these are the challenges that they're running into. And this other team's like, yeah, well, because, we only have the back-end engineers and this thing is happening. And then I thought, wait a minute, would you like some front-end engineers? Wouldn't that help address the issue? And I never thought about that because we've only always been back-end engineers. Like, yeah, well, what if you get like 2 front-end? And, one thing led to another. And now we have these 2 teams that have some front-end engineers. It's working really well. They're no longer blocked the way that they were before. They can actually take on new work. So overall, it seems so simple. And honestly, the change was like, a couple of days. Like, hey, do you want to be with this? Do you want to be on this team? All right, work together. Like, it was a simple change, but it's actually having a meaningful impact in the delivery of the organization. And it's just something that's just not top of mind. I was not thinking about it whatsoever. It's like, this is the structure of the team. They're doing their job. Like you said, I think everything seems okay.
That is such a cool example. And I'm thinking of a few examples on my side too. But that example wins them all.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I'm thinking about like when my team started doing that like year-long drip of survey questions. I loved that. That was so great. I want to try to.
I'm going to
take
steal
some of
that
your
idea.
ideas
I like
too
it.
and apply them. Go for it. Yeah. You could even do it manually if you have to, but it would
Oh
get
no,
kind of,
we're going to
laborious.
automate that thing.
Awesome. All right. So let's help people implement something today that they can actually
Yes.
see this in action. So what is something that tech leaders can do tomorrow or today to begin implementing and improving their team
I'll
flourishing?
say one thing they can do is talk to one engineer for 15 minutes every week. That's it. Just one engineer, 15 minutes. That's it.
That's awesome. And it's simple. Another thing that I like about that example or that task is that it's kind of a red pill, blue pill kind of thing. It sets us on a path of no return, because if we begin checking the polls and having these conversations with people,
Yep.
then we just decide to stop all of a sudden, then people are going to be up in arms.
Why didn't they want to talk to me?
People are not going to be happy.
I didn't get my turn. Oh, you got to talk to them? Oh, well, hopefully I'm next. So it's almost like puts pressure on you to stick with it.
Yeah, that's good. So, Annyce, how can people connect
The
with
best
you?
way to find me is either on LinkedIn or Blue Sky. So, it's Annyce Davis.
All right.
Okay.
We'll put a link in the show notes so people can find you easily. Annyce, what a
Thank
wonderful
you.
conversation. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing with us, and wish you the very best in your work and helping your own teams
Thanks,
to
Byron.
flourish.
This has been great.
This has been another episode of the Team Amplifier podcast. Thanks for joining us. Now, get out there and be a team amplifier.